you talk about evil. I think evil comes from us not being natural. I don't know that there's any. I don't know there's any evil in the nature. Is there? What can you think about in the nature that's evil?
We're the ones that stand out. Human beings are the ones that
Well, I mean,
stand out. Didn't you say that, Michael? Like the nature of evil is unique to humans.
It is. Yeah. Completely so.
You know, I mean,
it's disorder. Once you understand it as disorder, right? The universe, the cosmos means order. So the cosmos is fucking order. And even what we perceive as disorder, like a momentary, okay, say a star disappears, it's still in the aid of greater homeostasis. Only we humans who have choice, right, can choose unfreedom, can choose unpleasure, right? When Jim was talking about the phallic cultures, and one should have even said more about that when you asked me about the ancient mythologies, right? The understanding of pagan people was that don't live in unpleasure. If you're erogenous zones, they're there. Like when Jim was talking about the sensitivity question, the phallic is only one erogenous zone. It's the one from which you derive the greatest pleasure. Evil is when you allow your own body to live in unpleasure, because there is only pleasure, genital release, orgasm, pleasure, and there's only one potential fucking opposite to that, and that is unpleasure. If you live all your life in unpleasure, then your whole worldview is now so distorted. In other words, you do not know what pleasure is, right? So then you're going to become addicted to pornography. Not that any of these things are bad in themselves, but now you're going to be a person moving in the world who doesn't have erogenous experiences. What will a person like that do now?
You're dead.
When you talked about the circumcision ties into this, as Jim has already eloquently explained. But another way of looking at it from the Wilhelm Reich school is that the person of unpleasure is deeply armored. He's a victim of emotional fucking plague. It's that simple. Pleasure or unpleasure. Now, who do you think when you look at the world? When you look at these Ismailis, and not just them, but loads of other people, they're wooden, they're fossilized, they've got used to unpleasure, right? Their own bodies are not pleasurable to be in. Evil? You want to start dissecting the anatomy of fucking evil?
There's the
They don't
Gnosticism.
even know there's no orgasm, right? And if there is, it's only through murderous experiences, Look at these serial killers who've got to bite and be. We're sadomasochistic. There's our pleasure. We are completely fallen and lost. And do you know what the process is of getting out of that? You're talking about, the problem. Do you know what the solution is? What a man has to do? You think he can do that when he's part of a crowd? When his brain is colonized, like the average Swedish and Irish person, an American person? How can you escape into health when your own body is loathsome to you? Maybe, consciously you work out culture and you disguise that. And look at our pornographic media with its advertisements. On the surface, it looks like it's nothing but sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Take off that fucking media veneer, and you'll have people who are in a depressed state, who have never experienced sexual or release or any other form of pleasure from their own body level onwards. It's a diabolical. It's called the emotional plague, as Wilhelm Reich talked about it. How many fucking people have even heard that term? Well, there's your problem. And I plan to do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't masturbate because God's watching you all the time. So the little boys go hide in the closet. They hide under the blanket. So God
look
can't
at the
see
church.
You. I mean,
these guys, pedophilic
exactly
priests. Yeah.
Ah,
It comes out in a bad way. It comes out in a twisted...
homosexuality, all of it.
Yeah, it just distorted.
In the form that they've got now. And the form that they've got now is perverse. It's not born out of any kind of androgyny or understanding. It's born out of the need again. Women didn't satisfy me. Some woman says, man has not satisfied me. My husband has satisfied me. Women will now satisfy me. You think they're going to find that that's true? No, but by the time they've found that that's not true, it's too fucking late. The lesbian culture. The man says, women are not pleasuring me. They're not available sexually. They're wooden, they're armored, they're horrible. Right, I'm going to seek sexual satisfaction from men. Then we've got those gay cultures exploding all over the world. Then they're going to try and tell you it's a genetic thing? Of course not. A sophomore level knows, freshman knows that's not true. It's been proven not to be true. But it's here because all people are in a state of unpleasure. So they thrash about. And then you have these subcultures arising, right? These are all the untruths. Nobody knows how to soften their own being, become sensitive so that you can now have proper orgone experience, biotic experience. There's only necrophilia, right? Which I say is the armoring, or there's the biophilia. So how many people are biophilic? How many people love to be alive? How many people can say that their own body is a source of pleasure to them in the deep sense that Reich was talking about? Very fucking few. And if you're in unpleasure, then all the other diseases and unhealth that we experience, from arthritis onwards to, all of it, all of the various blood sugar issues, heart problems, all of this is arising, right? Because the body is unpleasured. And you'd think that we are in the most pleasure addicted, right? Because of the media chicanery. That's what I'm saying. People got to wake up to this, because there's so much pornography, so much, sitcoms and bullshit sugar on the top, with your love scenes and all the romanticism of the advertisements and the schmooching and that's all fake. That's all to cover up a diabolically corrupt situation of unpleasure that's going on in our world, libidinously. But we're not going to listen to the people who, have put their finger on this at all, because you know why? Because that's the wound. This unpleasure is also a wound. If you're not having pleasure, you're having unpleasure. And the erogenous zones of pleasure have become deeply antithetical to you. You hate your body. You hate your erogenous zones. You hate the very concept of pleasure. So you become fucking deeply necrophilous and sadomasochistic. Start fucking there. Right? You want to restore these high ones? Oh my God. You have to change your entire mentality about sexuality in a way that is really foreign in the world today. And the men who fucking told you about it were imprisoned in gulags and in fucking stockades and died there. That's the fate of anybody who else tries to stand up and, address these issues. It's a catastrophic situation. And just because we have a pornographic media that keeps on making you think that it's, bikinis draped on Ferraris, and the obsessive, the teens obsessed with all of it, and the women obsessed with their cosmetic appearances. The whole thing is an obscenity. It's got nothing to do with genuine sexuality or feeling. That's where you have to start.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
And so what you're saying too, Michael, is even for those, you could even say, even from like a standpoint of someone that would want to engage in homosexuality or whatever, there would even be an authentic way to do it if you really wanted to. But the problem at the end of the day is what Yoke or what Jim was saying, is that we've fallen to the point where we don't even know how to replicate healthy art forms in humanity anymore. So we're men and women have been disconnected over time, right? Sexuality's been distorted.
It's a search for pleasure. Even forget the word sexuality. Bracket that completely, because again, fuck what you talking about.
Yeah.
Look, just keep pleasure, unpleasure. It's a really simple formula. So when I go and seek it here and I seek it there, right? I seek it every fucking where, right? That is the culture that's really ultimately seeking for a beautiful thing. But you're not going to find it. When the woman says, men don't satisfy me sexually, look at these freaks running around with their placards, right? Those are people who are in a deep sense of unpleasure. So you need the orgasm by screaming loudly with a placard in your hand and a bunch of other girlies around you, because we know that the menstrual cycle comes into synchronicity when several women are together, right? All of this stuff is there in the books. So when I get together in a big mass crowd, I'm seeking the orgasm, and I get it through the oral fixation. Right, the homosexual gets it through the anal, level. You're thrashing about looking for pleasure, which is a very divine and brilliant thing. But you fucking didn't listen to Osho. You didn't fucking listen to Wilhelm Reich. You didn't listen to Arthur Janov, and people I mention continually through my work. Well, then perish in misery, and then condemn or even kill your wife, condemning your husband, and you're thrashing out even in that, blaming the other person. But it's actually your biology, your psychosoma, right? Your bioenergy that's armored, but you're going to blame, oh, my husband is hopeless or the wife is no good, right? Look at the fallout from broken homes, broken families, right? And yet not one person is putting their finger on the key of it. So people need to meditate on that. We're doing other shows on that. I've written a recent article on it, right? This whole thing is about your own insensitivity. And nature, as we said, is a big help, because nature will make you sensitive, right? There is solutions to all the things we're talking about. Getting out more and more into a natural environment, out of this urban gulag, will be a major, major help. in the process, because nature's there for millennia, and its job is to sensitize you and bring you back to, a reset. But the person who will refuses to do that is just going to be as armored and as walled up as the urban environment. Some worse than others, it's just shades of gray there.